this year's been a year, I think, that many people have so far found frustrating because, everybody wants exponential price rises and every number to go up. And it's not been that kind of year. The issue is if the liquidity pie didn't grow, then these narratives, they catch traction, but it means other things don't because you're recycling the same money.
What does the stability mean for crypto? And for people watching the markets, what does the stability mean?
Well, the stability is a double-edged sword. Stability is a good thing because it attracts more institutional capital. It's a bad thing because it keeps retail away.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to the Binance Studios. Now, if you've spent any time deepening your understanding of crypto or finance through podcasts, videos or news platforms, the chances are that you've come across Raoul Pal and his team at Real Vision. His insights have reached millions and phrases like the banana zone have become part of industry's language. Today, we're going to dive into how Raoul sees the markets right now. So Raoul, great to have you back. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Always good to see you.
Always good to see you too. And thrilled that we're going to be getting to see you in real life very soon at Binance Blockchain Week. Before that, I just thought we're rounding up 2025 and it's been a monumental year for the industry. So what better than to have a little bit of a check-in and just see how you're viewing the markets at present. So maybe for everyone watching, a little bit of context and probably the $1 million question. If you had to sum up this year, what would you say has, actually moved the crypto markets?
So, this year's been a year, I think, that many people have so far found frustrating because, everybody wants exponential price rises and every number to go up. And it's not been that kind of year. What we've seen in the background is this massive change in regulation in the US. So the background is incredibly positive. Passing of the stablecoin laws, we're still waiting for the Clarity Act to come through. We've seen pretty much every bank and financial institution, so they're going to build on blockchain rails. So we've seen the rise of the ETFs, the DAT. So we've seen this whole kind of Wall Street infrastructure build out on crypto. And you would have thought, had we have said this before, you'd say the number was much higher. Now, obviously, Bitcoin hit new highs over the course of the year, but still things like Solana and Ethereum still haven't really broken to new highs versus the last cycle, which is confusing people. That sent me down a rabbit hole of, okay, what's really going on here? And the kind of foundational work that I did called the Everything Code was based on this 4-year cycle to do with the 4-year debt maturity of the United States and most countries. And I redid the work and found out that in 2022, because interest rates got down to zero again in 21 and early 22, they restructured the debt to 5 years. So it's added another year. So we've got this weird kind of hybrid extra year that we've never had before. And we've seen that in things like the business cycle. The ISM survey gives us a guide of the business cycle. And people talk about this K-shaped economy where, growth stocks have been going up. But meanwhile, things like the economy have been relatively slow for normal people. And that's a function of this business cycle not picking up, rates staying high, and the fact that they didn't need to refinance the debts in massive size this year. But it all comes to next year. So it's been really a patience game of the sideways choppy market. But people forget also, last year was the same. Last year peaked in somewhere early in the year and then did nothing all year. Everyone got so frustrated. Everyone was flinging poo at each other online and getting angry with each other. And then before you know it, took off like a rocket ship in November and December. And I think it's somewhat similar this time around. And the rocket ship this time around is based on the fact that they've kind of not been adding liquidity into the US. That's the magic formula that drives the price higher, the debasement of currency. And what's happened is there's various mechanisms they use to add liquidity. The classic used to be quantitative easing, where they just print money and put it on the balance sheet. But this time around, they've not been doing that. They've actually been tightening. And so then they have this mechanism called the reverse repo and then the Treasury General Account. And these things they've been using. And what's happened is the government shutdown has stopped the government actually spending money, which means that they've held back and maybe $250 billion of stimulus that needs to come into the economy. So that as soon as the government reopens in the next few days, we'll start to see liquidity flowing back in. Then we've got the Federal Reserve cutting rates. Then we've got the Clarity Act coming. Then we've got some changes to bank regulations to allow them to hold more reserves. And before you know it, the whole liquidity flywheel kicks off.
And you said something really interesting there, which is kind of everyone looking at the markets. And we've had this extra year that has come in. And liquidity drives everything, more money coming in, more movement. But I think also the fact that we've had a year of stability at this time is also quite a significant milestone for the industry. So rather than what does the upward trajectory and what does that movement mean for crypto, what does the stability mean for crypto? And for people watching the markets, what does the stability mean?
Well, the stability is a double-edged sword. It's kind of institutional investors prefer the less volatile approach. It still does decently well. But retail investors who have their hopes and dreams in the power of the returns of crypto then get angry and frustrated that they're not getting those returns unless they've been very selective in what they've bought. There's certain things. I know the Binance token hit new all-time highs. Bitcoin did, which in this massive run recently in Zcash. But a lot of these things don't stick for very long. So what we found again is like this bifurcation where some projects have done really quite well considering the stability-based environment, but a lot of other stuff has bled 50% or 40% in the meantime. So it's kind of weird. So stability is a good thing because it attracts more institutional capital. It's a bad thing because it keeps retail away. So retail investors went to tech stocks instead because there were easier returns.
And now narratives, because you've mentioned there's some of the narratives, Zcash, privacy tokens, exchange tokens, running on these kind of upward trends that we do see that do lead to sometimes new all-time highs. And markets they run on stories just as much as they do run on data. For a lot of it, narratives are really incremental for the ebbs and flows and the trends of crypto. So what kind of narratives are you watching right now?
So if we think about 2025, the issue is if the liquidity pie didn't grow, then these narratives, they catch traction, but it means other things don't because you're recycling the same money. Mm-hmm. So you keep recycling the money and then before you know it, you're buying the highs and it collapses back down again until the liquidity comes in. And then you can anchor these narratives that are more pervasive and can last longer. So I think the privacy narrative makes a lot of sense considering where Europe and the UK has been so far in this whole crypto equation. They've been kind of very, very cautious. And so people are concerned about that and the central bank digital currencies and what they're trying to do with that. So I think this one lasts. Obviously, it won't go up in a straight line. It has done, but things need to correct. I don't know where the next narrative, there's always a narrative in layer one somewhere. What's the new, faster, getting traction layer one narrative? And then it feels kind of wide open. Often it starts with people look at cash flows and DeFi and say, well, this protocol's producing cash flows. And later in a bull market, nobody cares about cash flows. It's then super narrative driven. We've had the rise of hyperliquid. It's not yet clear to me where the next new narrative comes from. Maybe it just comes from the broad stablecoin adoption from the financial system and who's building on what chains for that. I think that's a big one. And again, I'm not really clear what the next narrative is until liquidity comes and the market will start to focus on, the core things. But usually in the latter part of a cycle, what you get is like a hyper focus of 5, 6 things that go up a lot that really catch the market's attention and feeds on itself. But it's not yet clear what those are.
Yeah, it's never normally clear until you're already on the roller coaster. But it would be interesting.
And you don't want to believe it either because in the prior years, they go up and then they come back down again. You're like, really? I mean, it could be AI and crypto again because that's not going away either. So, but we just have to wait and see.
It was a very big testament to where we are in the industry that in Token 2049 Singapore, the hot topic and theme across the agendas were stablecoins. I thought in kind of 10 years of cryptocurrency conferences, stablecoins being a hot topic is also quite a positive testament when Bitcoin's over $100,000. Last time we spoke to you at our Dubai Clubhouse event, you were also quite bullish on the narrative of kind of cryptocurrency culture in the form of NFTs and kind of digital collectibles. Is that also something that you're watching at the moment?
Yeah, very much so. And you see how this works is when the market goes back to new highs or near the highs, people recycle gains or their optimism into longer term assets, things like digital art. And so that happens, and as we came back down to the bottom of the range, we saw the digital art market slow down again. But as we start breaking, particularly Ethereum, 5,000, and let's say the big positions people have, stuff like Solana, once that starts really breaking new all-time highs, you'll see a lot of money getting recycled into these long-term kind of trophy assets. It's exactly the same thing that people do with watches. It's really interesting. It's all driven actually by the business cycle. So whether it's watches, fine wine, or digital art, they're all driven by the business cycle. So once people are starting to make money, have a bit of excess earnings, they recycle it into trophy assets. So that, again, lies ahead. Once we start breaking new highs, we'll see a lot more of this. And I think people are going to be really shocked at the price some of this art trades at. You'll suddenly start to see things like, a piece of digital art trading for $20 million. I mean, they've traded as high as 70 million in the past, but, these are big numbers, and we will see that all over again.
Yeah. And I think something really interesting as well is obviously with the Real Vision platform is you obviously have new retail that's also coming in, but you have institutional investors that will also be using the platform to gain information on kind of the market cycle and where we are today. What kind of trends are you noticing within your community at the moment? I think when you have these open forums conversation, it's also really interesting to see, for example, the comments on Binance YouTube channel, what kind of things people are asking about, where their curiosities peaked. So what kind of things are you noticing within your community?
Interesting enough for us, we're actually relaunching an entire new community-based platform experience so people can really dig into these communities, whether it's, larger interest groups like crypto, or whether it's down to specific tickers and things like that. So it's going to give us a lot of signal from that. Generally speaking, I think we've managed to really help people be patient and not to mess up how to invest in the cycle. So I think there's a lot of gratitude around in how that's worked out for people. People are looking for the next big opportunity set. I think there's a lot of people focused on the AI trade, trying to figure out, how do I do that? Where's the nexus of crypto and AI? They've been looking at that. I think there is general still sense of frustration that prices really haven't gained enough traction yet. But overall, I think the community itself seems to be patient and understanding because we've given them the kind of macro frameworks of understanding, and not just for myself, but a whole bunch of people who appear on Real Vision to give them the kind of confidence to understand what it is that's going on. So again, I think they are working hard on trying to find the next narrative, the big narratives that come. And again, the signal hasn't come from that, but again, I see it around privacy. I definitely see it around digital art. I definitely see it around AI, stuff like Tau and stuff like that, and people trying to figure out, where that real opportunity lies and whether things like DEXs and other DeFi opportunities that have cash flows are the big investment opportunities or not. So I do see them doing a lot of that. I've seen a lot of work from Jamie Coots, who's our chief crypto analyst, on kind of all of the major protocols, what the rise of stablecoins means, how this fits into liquidity. So I think stablecoins is another feature. It's not really investable so much as, does it drive activity to the underlying chain? So, we look across that as well. So I think overall people are optimistic, but a bit frustrated.
Noted. And now finally, before we wrap things up, because I could pick your brains for the whole hour, but I know that we will be having you grace the stage at Binance Blockchain Week. The community are thrilled to have you share your insights, and it'll be the first time that you spoke at our main flagship event. So it's super exciting. And thank you for taking the time to fly quite a long way, might I add, overseas to come and join.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good event. And my God, the lineup of speakers is quite epic.
And you're one of them. So I have to ask, first of all, is there anyone else that you're excited to listen into and hear share their insights on the stage?
Look, most of the people I know, and it'll be nice to catch up with them. So,
yes.
It'll always be good to catch up with people like Tom Lee. Haven't seen him for a while. Michael Saylor I've actually never met. So it'll be nice to actually say hello to him properly. Catch up with CZ again, because obviously I interviewed him last time at Token 2049 in Dubai.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting people. I mean, you've got a super stacked lineup. And I just think it's going to give a lot of broad perspectives because it's not narrowly focused on one area. You've got people talking on all types of aspects of crypto. And I think, I'm really looking forward to it.
We're thrilled to have you.
You for organising all of that lot. I'm not paying to get that lot on a stage.
Honestly, it's a true pleasure. And the lineup is all star. So we're thrilled to have you join. And we do have you on the talk, which is the alpha thesis, finding the hidden edge in crypto. So I'm not going to ask you to give too much away, but is there one narrative or talking point that you think is one of the hidden edges, something to watch, not to miss in 2026 that you'll dive into in a little bit more detail during the...
I don't really want to give anything away yet. I'm not going to give away alpha early.
That's why it's alpha, because it's not given away early. Absolutely, point taken.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, Raoul, thank you so much for the time. Thrilled to have you join us and see you in just a few weeks in Dubai.
Super looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. And guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, the link to Binance Blockchain Week will be down in the description below.